Howdy, partners, and welcome to Cowboys versus Ninjas.
Versus...
That's right, the podcast that brings you a brand new tale of epic proportions every single day.
Every single day.
We pit the grit of the Wild West
against
the silent grace of the East in stories that'll leave you wanting more.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Adrian, your host for this rootin' tootin' ride through history and legend.
And I'm Julia.
And you can bet she'll be helping us.
Trying to.
Separate the fact from the fiction.
Although sometimes
the
fiction is just too good to resist.
Ain't that the truth? So saddle up, listeners.
Hit that subscribe button.
And get ready for today's story about a ninja, unlike any you've heard before.
Oh, this is a good one.
We're talking impossible missions, childhood friendships, and a twist that'll have you hollering, "Hold your horses."
You're really laying it on thick today.
Well, I do what I can to keep you on the edge of your seat, Julia. Now, for our listeners, picture this.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Feudal Japan, land of the rising sun. Cherry blossoms.
And here ninjas.
Of course. In this world lives Aiko, a ninja prodigy.
Prodigy.
Not just any ninja, Julia,
Yeah.
but the ninja. This girl's known far and wide for her speed and skill.
Speed and skill.
Particularly a move that practically bends the laws of physics.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the
Fitness.
infamous flash step.
That's the one.
It's more than just a cool name, you know? This technique involves manipulating your body's center of gravity and using explosive bursts of speed to create, well, the illusion of teleportation.
Teleportation.
You could blink and miss it. One moment she's there, the next.
Poof.
Gone.
Makes you wonder if those old cowboy tales about teleporting tumbleweeds weren't so far-fetched after all. Now this time around, Aiko's mission isn't about taking lives,
Nope.
but saving them. Her sensei, that's her teacher and mentor in the ninja world, for those unfamiliar, gives her a task
A task.
that even a seasoned gunslinger might balk at.
Oh, really? This bad, huh?
You better believe it.
Okay, so lay it on me. What she gotta do?
Infiltrate a heavily guarded fortress
Infiltrate a heavily guarded fortress.
and rescue a group of hostages,
Hostages?
no less, being held in the most secure location,
Which is?
the Central Tower.
Oh, boy.
We're talking walls as high as amazes,
Wow.
guards tougher than a 10-gallon hat, the whole shebang.
Sounds pretty impossible.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any more intense,
It gets more intense.
there's a personal twist.
Hmm.
Turns out, among these hostages is Kai Ishimaru,
Kaishimaru.
a childhood friend of Aiko's.
Okay, so there's a connection here.
Why would they snatch a simple merchant, you ask? Seems a little off, don't it?
It does seem a little strange. Why would they go after a merchant? That's where things get interesting. You see, targeting loved ones is a classic tactic, almost as old as time itself.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's all about applying pressure, exploiting weaknesses. Think of it like rustling someone's prized cattle.
Rustling cow.
Hits them where it hurts. Except in this case, it ain't cattle.
The childhood friend.
And for Aiko, this got to be tearing her apart.
Torn between duty and friendship.
That's got to be a tough spot.
So here she is, an Aiko,
A little Aiko.
facing an impossible mission.
Impossible.
The fate of her clan and the life of her friend hanging in the balance.
Oh, man. What would you do, listener?
What would you do?
If you were in Aiko's shoes, it's enough to make even the toughest hombre ponder.
Now let's mosey on over to the action.
Let's do it.
It's midnight. The fortress stands tall against the moonlit sky.
Ah.
Guards patrol the ramparts, eyes peeled for any sign of trouble. But for Aiko, with her flash step, they're nothing more than statues. 1 minute she's in the shadows, the next she's past them.
Like,
A phantom in the wind.
it's not just about raw speed, though. It's about precision, control. Every movement is calculated, honed through years of rigorous training. Scaling a wall becomes an art form, almost like a graceful dance. Only, instead of music, there's the silent whisper of the wind and the rustle of her own movement.
Talk about stealing a scene. She finds the hostages' chamber.
She finds it.
And there they are.
They're there.
4 figures, bound and hooded.
Bound and hooded.
But even in captivity, one stands out, a defiant tilt of the head, a familiar silhouette.
The familiar silhouette.
It's got to be Kai.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine the rush of emotions, listener? Years spent honing those ninja skills, learning to suppress feelings for the sake of the mission.
Right.
And now here she is,
Face to face.
with someone she deeply cares about, caught in the crossfire.
That's gotta be enough to make a heart skip a beat.
But Aiko knows time's a-ticking.
Tick-tock.
She's got to act fast, get him out of there.
Get him out of there.
And here's where we see the trust these hostages have in Aiko.
You trust.
Remember, they're terrified in a strange place
Right.
with a masked ninja.
Yeah.
Yet when she cuts their bonds and urges them to follow her lead, they do it without hesitation.
Really?
Jumping from the tower window into the unknown, because she says so. That says something about Aiko, don't it?
It really does. For sure. Even in the shadows, she inspires a whole lot of faith.
But just when you think they're home free,
Oh, no.
disaster strikes.
What happens?
Kai recognizes Aiko's voice,
Her voice.
sees her eyes through the mask,
Uh-oh.
calls out her name. No. And that's when all heck breaks loose. Guards swarm in, blades drawn, ready for a showdown.
Oh, this is bad. This is where we see even the most extraordinary abilities have their limits.
Yikes.
Aiko might be faster than a greased pig, but even she can't be everywhere at once. Overwhelmed by sheer numbers.
There's any.
Her advantage starts to dwindle.
Right, like they say there's always a bigger fish in the pond, or in this case, a whole school of them.
Oh, school?
But Aiko ain't one to back down, especially not when her friend's life is on the line.
What does she do?
She throws herself into the fray, protecting Kai with every fiber of her being, buying him time to escape. Talk about true grit.
It's a truly selfless act. Remember that ninja code? Well, in this moment,
Compassion.
Trump's duty. She's risking it all for her friend.
Even if it means...
Ruin the mission.
And just when you think things can't get any worse, a new challenger enters the ring.
The new challenger.
The Shogun's elite commander. This ain't no ordinary guard, folks. This guy's a legend.
A legend.
Skilled.
Oh, yeah.
Ruthless. And itching to test Aiko's mettle.
He represents everything Aiko's been training for.
The ultimate test.
And this confrontation is about more than just martial skill. It's about willpower, digging deep, finding that last ounce of strength when all hope seems lost.
The commander draws his twin swords,
Twin swords.
glistening under the torchlight.
Ooh.
Aiko, battered and bruised, raises her hand, her flash step faltering. But she's got fight left in her, that's for sure. She ain't going down without a fight.
It's a scene straight out of those classic samurai flicks.
Two warriors.
Locked in a deadly dance, each move a testament to their years of training and unwavering spirit. But you know what? There's another player in this game.
Yeah.
One we almost forgot about.
You talking about Kai? You think a simple merchant can hold his own against a seasoned warrior like the commander?
Well, that's the thing about underestimating folks. You never know what they're capable of until they're pushed to their limits. And Kai, well, he's about to surprise us all. Remember that merchant we thought was just a bystander? Turns out Kai's got a few tricks up his sleeve. It's almost poetic, isn't it? We're conditioned to think of strength in such a narrow way. Swords, muscles.
Brute force.
But true strength often comes from the most unexpected places.
You're telling me. Here's this guy, everyone's writing him off,
Yeah.
and bam, he charges back through that window.
Through the window.
Not with a katana or a shuriken,
No.
but with a merchant's staff.
A staff.
And he slams that staff
Slams it.
right into the commander's side.
Wow.
He might not be a trained fighter,
Nah.
but he's got heart, and that's what matters.
It really flips the script on how we define a hero, doesn't it? We tend to put people in boxes.
Foxes.
The warrior, the merchant.
Damsel in distress.
But life, just like these stories, is rarely so black and white.
Ain't that the truth? And that act of courage, that willingness to put himself on the line.
It buys Aiko.
Those precious few seconds she needs. With a surge of adrenaline, her flash step roars back to life.
It's back.
She scoops up Kai,
Scoops him up.
and they vanish into the night, leaving the commander and his guards in the dust.
They may be injured, they may be pursued, but they're alive.
Alive.
And sometimes, listener, that's all that matters. A victory may not always be grand and glorious. Sometimes it's just about survival, about holding on to hope when everything seems lost.
And that escape.
It's more than just outrunning the bad guys.
They're escaping the confines of their old lives, their old assumptions. Think about it. Aiko, the stoic ninja.
She's learned that even the strongest heart can have cracks.
Cracks.
For compassion.
And Kai, the seemingly ordinary merchant. He's discovered a wellspring of courage he never knew he possessed. It makes you wonder, listener, what hidden strengths you might have lurking beneath the surface, just waiting for the right moment to emerge. That's what I love about these stories. They remind us that everyone has a story. For greatness. But while our heroes are licking their wounds, figuring out their next move, I gotta ask, what does this mission, this daring escape, tell us about the ninja world?
It shows us that the world they live in, it's a tightrope walk, a constant dance with danger. Every mission, every step they take, it's fraught with risk and the consequences of failure. Well, they can be devastating, to say the least.
Yeah, one wrong move, one hesitation can be the difference between life and death. High stakes all the time.
Exactly. And this particular mission, it highlights the emotional toll this lifestyle takes. Imagine dedicating your life to a code training to suppress your emotions, detach yourself from personal connections. But can you truly ever erase those human bonds? Aiko's story shows us that those feelings, they have a way of resurfacing, even in the most disciplined heart.
Makes you think, don't it? About the sacrifices they make, the burdens they carry. They're human, after all.
They are indeed. And that conflict, that push and pull between duty and personal feelings, that's what makes these stories so relatable. Because in a way, we all face those dilemmas in our own lives, don't we? Maybe not with swords and fortresses, but with our own choices, our own loyalties, and the consequences that come with them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, I know what you're thinking out there, listeners. What happens next? Do Aiko and Kai make it to safety? What about that relentless commander? Don't worry, we'll be back in a jiffy to reveal the thrilling conclusion to this epic tale. So, stay tuned.
All right, listeners, we're back.
And ready to gallop toward the finish line of this epic tale. When we left off, Aiko and Kai... Injured, but with a glimmer of hope. They may have escaped that fortress.
Right.
But they're not out of the woods yet.
There.
Remember, they're still deep in enemy territory.
Deep.
And that commander, he's not one to let a little setback, like a bruised ego, stop him. He's got a whole army at his disposal.
Oh, yeah.
And he's likely fuming. I reckon he's picturing Aiko's head on a pike. And probably Kai's too, just for good measure.
And he's certainly got a chip on his shoulder about this whole thing, doesn't he? But sometimes that single-minded focus can be a weakness. Aiko and Kai, they've got something the commander doesn't.
Which is the element of surprise.
That and a healthy dose of desperation, I'd imagine. But you're right about the surprise factor. While the commander's busy predicting their every move based on logic and strategy, Aiko and Kai are playing a different game.
Exactly. They're adaptable, they're thinking on their feet. Plus, Kai's knowledge of the city's underbelly.
Underbelly.
Those hidden alleys and secret passages, that's proven invaluable. It's like they say, sometimes you got to know the back roads to outrun the posse.
Speaking of posses, how do they shake this one? You mentioned a hot air balloon earlier. Now that's an image I got to hear more about.
Well, you're in luck, partner, because that's exactly how our resourceful duo makes their getaway. They managed to procure a hot air balloon.
Hot air balloon?
I'm sure there's a story there.
Oh, I bet.
But we'll save that for another time.
Oh.
And use it to soar above the city walls.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I call thinking outside the box. Or in this case, outside the fortress walls. But I bet that commander wasn't too happy about seeing them float away.
You can bet your boots he wasn't. But here's where Kai's quick thinking really shines. He releases a flock of trained pigeons.
Pigeons.
Yes, you heard that right. Pigeons. These birds create a diversion.
A diversion.
Confusing the commander's archers and buying Aiko and Kai precious time to disappear into the clouds.
So they used the very symbol of peace to escape a war. Now, ain't that poetic justice? I'm starting to think this Kai fellow might be my new favorite ninja in disguise.
He certainly gives those stealthy warriors a run for their money, doesn't he? And their escape. It's a beautiful metaphor, isn't it? Rising above the conflict, leaving the shadows behind, and finding freedom in the open sky.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And what about Aiko and Kai? What becomes of them after their high-flying escape?
Well, their journey's just beginning. They've been through the fire together and emerged stronger. Their bond is unbreakable, now forged in shared danger and mutual respect.
And that brings us to the end of our tale. Another showdown between East and West in the books. What a ride.
It certainly was. But before we sign off, take a moment to reflect on what we've learned today. What stands out to you?
For me, it's the reminder that heroes come in all shapes and sizes. You don't need a fancy title or a special set of skills to be courageous. Sometimes. All it takes is a kind heart and the willingness to stand up for what's right.
Well said. And perhaps another takeaway is that even in a world filled with shadows and danger, even when facing impossible odds, there's always hope.
Hope.
As long as we have each other.
As long as we believe.
In ourselves and the power of human connection, we can overcome anything.
And on that note, folks, it's time to wrap up this episode of the Cowboys versus Ninjas podcast. Don't forget to rate, follow, and share the show with your friends. We'll be back tomorrow with another brand new tale of cowboys, ninjas, and everything in between.
Until then, keep those imaginations running wild, partners. And remember, there's a little bit of cowboy and ninja in all of us just waiting to be unleashed.